Hey guys, this is just a quick video. So, I'm going to make a video here that I want to reach the masses with. It's something that I normally don't do on this channel, but it's very important. I just want to fill you in on what's been going on. It's very bad, and yeah, so, okay, long story short, we've had 5 deaths in the family in 6 weeks. What is the common denominator to these deaths? Hospitals. Now, one thing that I do is I'm a writer, among many other things. I write about these things, and I've had a lot of readers reach out to me and say that they have the same exact story. So, you remember about 1.5 years ago I was doing videos on, stuff that's going on in the world? Well, I predicted all this stuff, and I said, this is probably going to happen, this is probably going to happen, and I was right on every count. So let me tell you about the hospitals. So, my cousin, who is no longer with us, he's a few years younger than me. He got a totally healthy guy, never drank, never did drugs, no heart issues, he was not overweight, he was fine. He was just like us. He was awesome. A tech geek, photographer. We worked together in photography a lot. He's a CG animator. Really smart guy, really funny guy, warped sense of humor. We lived together for a bit years ago. Him and I were very close since kids. And so, yeah, he died 2 weeks ago. And very long story short, he got a little sick, flu symptoms, and he thought, let me just go to the hospital just to get checked out, So, so he went there, and his girlfriend dropped him off. Fiance, I didn't know that they were engaged until after he was gone. And she drops him off. She goes back home, and later that night, he says, now this isn't like him. So when I heard that he said these words, I knew something was definitely wrong. He called her and said, get me out of here, they're trying to kill me. Get me out of here now. You got to come and get me out of here. So she goes there, and they wouldn't let her in. Because, the Black Plague has taken over the world, right? So they kept him there for a couple days. They took away his phone, and he tries to escape. He tries to leave. He just doesn't want to be there anymore. He gets up. He's weak, but he tries to leave. He takes the IVs out of his arm and everything. He tries to leave. They stop him, and they say, what are you doing? You can't be. So they sedate him and instantly put him on a ventilator. A ventilator was not needed. And if you're very healthy and you get put on a ventilator, you still have a 14% chance of living. Because ventilators are very dangerous. It's an enclosed system. They breed bacteria. They're not cleaned out. You're breathing in the same, bacteria that's breeding within that machine. And if you get the oxygen levels set wrong, you'll die. Well, there's a lot of people that work in that industry with ventilators that have reached out to me, and I've seen this in many places. And they've said that they work on these machines, and they go in the morning and and they see that the settings have been tampered with. They don't quite know why. They think they're losing their mind, so they recalibrate it. Well, there's a lot of foul things going on in hospitals. So, about a week later, they take him out of this sedation, and he tries to pull the tube out of his throat, tries to get out of there. They sedate him again, keep him on the ventilator, and they kept asking his family for a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate. Big red flag, because Hospitals should not ask you for a DNR. They should say, how do you feel about it? In case things get worse, in case things get bad, how do you feel about it? Not asking for a DNR. They should ask how you feel about it and what the patient wanted. Well, after about 4 times of asking, don't you know, they said, no, definitely not. After the 4th time, about a day later, his fiancée gets a phone call that says, you need to come down to the hospital right now. But now she can come to the hospital because he's coding, which means dying. And I got the call, and I knew it was just a matter of minutes. Sure enough, about a half an hour later, while I was awake for my uncle's funeral, we get the news that Mike died of a heart attack in the hospital. My uncle died in a hospital in another state, and they shipped him here so we can have the wake and funeral, and had Mike's funeral at the same funeral home. 3 days later, I was in the office of that place, shocked, making arrangements for my cousin's body to be, So, my aunt, who's married to my uncle, who just passed a few weeks ago, I had a long conversation with her, as we do, for about 4.5 hours. A few weeks back, she was fine, she was totally just fine. Well, she passed away 2 days ago. She was feeling a little ill, and she went to the hospital to get checked out. They wouldn't give us any information. They were playing games. My other cousin, who was overseeing things, he did a phenomenal job. Him and I worked on things together. The hospital would talk to him every day. I tried to get through to talk to her. It was very odd because I said, room 106. The phone would just ring and ring and ring and ring and ring. No one ever picked up. And they would say, well, we have to get someone down there. We'll answer the phone for her. Okay, I'm not sure why. But give us 5 minutes. I called again. 5 minutes later, same thing. 10 minutes later, same thing. I called the front desk easily 10 times. And then finally, the guy that's overseeing the floor where she was at, a little bit of an attitude. He goes, look, I'm monitoring heart monitors. I can't just be, going into... I'm like, dude, I didn't say I want you to leave your post, okay? But you told me that another guy was going to be there 5 minutes ago, and that was 25 minutes ago. I just want to talk to her really quick. And he's like, well, I can't make any promises, but the guy said he's going to be in the room. Let me check. This went on for another 20 minutes. Finally, I called back again. And he said, well, just give me your number. I'll have someone call you back tonight. No one ever called me back. I called again the next day. The same BS was going on. And then my other cousin, who's handling this mainly, he tried calling. All of a sudden, he can't talk to her either. When my mom tried calling my aunt, her sister-in-law, and she did get her on the phone like a few days before this, someone was messing around with the phone, pressing the buttons. Whenever my aunt would say things, buttons were being pressed, like censoring, like old school telephone. You press the buttons like bang, bang, bang. And my aunt was saying something like, this isn't right, get me out of here, I don't want to be here. So then she got a little better, and then she got worse. And then they said her oxygen levels were good. And then someone else the next day said they were terrible. But then someone later that day said, no, the oxygen levels are fine. What the hell's going on? So I was going to hop in the car, and I was going to make that long trip to see her. And I told my cousin, he's like, let me call the hospital really quick. The dumbass hospital said, you can come out here, but you can't come in the hospital. You could stand outside the window and talk to her on the phone while you're outside for your safety. Really? Now, that pissed me off. And it wasn't, I guess I could have made the trip so she could at least see me through the glass because she had no family down there. Her husband just died. Anyway, it would have been a wasted trip because 2 days later I would have gotten there and she died. I'm just not buying it. Oh, and my cousin who passed away, his dad was in the same hospital as him. He passed away 3 days after his son. My cousin's dad died. He was in the same hospital. Oh, and my cousin's uncle, he was declared brain dead. Same hospital. Yeah. So he's going to be dead any day. Who else? Who else do we have? Yeah, I don't even, can't even. 5 deaths in 6 weeks. Do you think that's a little odd? Because people have reached out to me and they said the same thing's happening. Phones are taken away. There's no witnesses. There are no witnesses. You've got a person in the hospital that wants to get out. And they take away your phone. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're giving them care. But I do know this. They get kickbacks for every death. I thought it was $2,000. I'm hearing it's $48,000. My parents were in the hospital. My mom tried to leave. They refused. She bitched. She bitched a lot. She was very stubborn, just like me. And they wouldn't release her. She even offered to sign a waiver saying, I will not hold you responsible if anything happens after I leave these doors. You would think that would be fine, right? No. They said, we can't do that. We cannot release you. Okay. So I was going to drive to that hospital and get her out of there no matter what. But there was one nurse that got her out of there. And because of that nurse, she's alive today. My dad was in the hospital, same hospital, wouldn't release him. He just got out. He just left. He got lucky. They didn't stop him. So, I just want to let you guys know, and this has been spreading around. I'm sure you've seen it. Doctors are stepping up and saying, stay out of hospitals. If you don't really have to go, don't. And if you're responsible for somebody, do not have them put on a ventilator. Because whether you are healthy or not, you only have a 14% chance of survival once you're on a ventilator. Look up the stats. It's real. Five deaths in 6 weeks. Now, I'm planning another funeral. My aunt's. She was like a mom to me. My uncle was like a dad. Now we have to go to that house in another state that's empty. We've got to figure out what to do with all their stuff. We've got to sell the house. What do we do with the cars, I just talked to her like 4 weeks ago. She was totally fine. Laughing, cracking jokes as she did. She had a wicked sense of humor, which is one of the reasons why her and I were so close. And you know what? I told her again, and I'm so glad that I had the chance to tell her that, you know, I want to tell you something. No offense against my parents, but I have to tell you that you have always been like a mom to me. Because they never had kids. And she said, you know I love you. You've always been like a son to me. And I told her again, I really want you to know that I always considered you to be my second mom. Anyway, do some research. Stay out of the hospitals unless you really need to go. There's so much crap going on in the world. I wish this video was going to be like the others, fun, funny, you know. But I wanted to get the word out and just take it for what it is, man. Just, if you don't believe it, fine. But I just am letting people know. I had a couple friends reach out to me with the same stories just tonight, which compelled me to make this video. They're like, man, I heard about your cousin. I'm so sorry. I had 2 friends, young people, die in hospitals this week. What the hell's going on? There's a lot more I can say, but I'm not going to say it here. You guys can reach out to me. I'll let you know where you can read the stuff that I write. Take care of yourselves. Look out for one another. That's the only way things are going to get better. You know what the real enemy is. You know. The Constitution was written to protect the people of the United States against enemies, both foreign and domestic. Wake up.